Good day, folks. This is a short video which I'm making on to the chapter number 6 for stat, so that you can brush up your concepts with that topic. So we're going to talk about probability. Pro Probability. So probability means desired outcome over number of outcomes. So here I'm going to take an example. So basic example, if you toss a coin, and how many number of outcomes can be there? The number of outcomes can be two. One is head, another is tail. So, and I want my desired outcome to be the head. So my question is, what is the probability of getting head? So the probability of getting head will be 1 out of 2, because there are two number of outcomes and desired outcome is only one, that is getting the head. that that's how the probability will come out to be 0.5 for this one. Now I'm going to make this question a little more complicated. Let's say if I toss the coin 3 times, so the number of trials have increased from 1 to 3. So how many heads I can get in this and how many tails I can get? Let's see how many possible outcomes I can have first of all. So in the first trial, if I toss the coin, I can get head or a tail. Then in the second, I can get a head or a tail also, okay, after getting a head. So if I got the tail in the first one, in the second trial, I can get a head or a tail too. Now in the third trial, after getting the first two trials as a head, I can still get a head or a tail here. And again, after getting the tail in the second trial, I can have the head in the third trial or the tail in the third. And same thing gonna go for the second trial. Head down here, I can have the tail or I can have head. I'll put the head on top and tail on the bottom. And I can have head here and I can have tail here. So let's explore what are the possible outcomes I can have in this process. So one of the possible outcome can be this one. So head, 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 head. Another possible outcome can be head, head, tail, head, head, tail. Another possible outcome can be head, tail, head, head, tail, head. Another possible outcome can be head, tail, tail, head, tail, tail. Another possible outcome can be tail, head, head, tail, head, head. Another can be tail, head, tail, head, tail. And here it can be tail, tail, head, tail, head. And last can be tail, tail, tail. So these are the number of possible outcomes. So how many total possible outcomes I can have? That is 8, I guess. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the number of total possible outcomes are 8. Now I'm going to try and create a table from here. So I'm going to put the number of possible heads or number of desired heads as an X, and uh, I will try and count their probability, which I will mark it as Px. So let's say if I say for 0 head, X is head. Okay, for 0 head, what is the probability for that? 0 head means all 3 tails. So that can be 1 over 8, which I can mark it as 0.125. And then the second one will be 1 head. So that will be 1 head. Let's see in how many I can get the 1 head. This is the one, and let me box it. And then I can get 1 head here and 1 head here. So 3 out of 8, which will be 0.375. Now to get the 2 heads, so that will be this one, this one. Order does not matter. So in this and this, they are different order, but we're just counting number of heads. 2, and then this is the third. So 3 out of 8, which will be 0.375. And getting all three heads, so that is only one option. So 1 out of 8, and that is 0.125. And if I add up all these probabilities, it should come out to be 1, which in this case will be 1. Okay, so that was the probability of getting 0 head, 1 head, 2 head, and 3 head. How can I write it in the probability form? So probability of x equal to 0 is 0.125. Probability of x equal to 1 came out to be 0.375. Probability of x equal to 2 came out to be 0.375. Probability of x equal to 3 came out to be 0.125. So that's how I can write it. Now I'm gonna modify this question a little bit, and can I try and play with this? I'm gonna ask you, what is the probability? What is the probability of getting at least two heads? Two heads. So means probability of x should be greater than equal to. This means at least. Please don't confuse yourself. So greater than equal to means at least. Greater than equal to 2. So that is equal to, at least two head means two or more. So this one plus this one. So I'll add 0.375 plus 0.125, which will be 0.5. Now I'm going to modify the question a little bit more. What is the probability of getting probability of getting at least three heads? So how are you going to write it? So I'd like you to pause the video and write it yourself and then match the answer. So welcome back. X should be greater than equal to 3. So in this case, only 3 is the option. There's nothing beyond 3. So I will write it as 0.125, at least 3 head. So this was exactly 3, exactly 2, exactly 1. So equal to means exactly. This means at least. Now, if I flip the sign, what does this mean? This means at most 3 head. So meaning that 0 will also be a part of that. 0 head, 1 head, 2 head, and 3 head. All options will be a part of that. So if I go back and look into my work, so 0 head, 1 head, 2 head, and 3 head, I will add up all the possibilities in that. So this will be 0.125 plus 0.375 plus 0.375 plus 0.125. That will be probability of getting at most 3 head, that is 1 in this case. Now, if I were to ask you, what is the probability of getting at most 2 head? First of all, how are you going to write it? So P x should be less than equal to, at most 2 means less than equal to 2. It means you can get 0 head, 1 head, or 2 head. So probability of 0 plus probability of, well, I should write down equal to here, probability of 1 plus probability of 2. That's what it will be. So this plus this plus this, 0.125 plus 0.375 plus 0.375. So add up all this number, that's going to come out to be 0.875. That is the probability of getting at most 2 heads. That is the answer for this one. Hopefully you were able to understand what is the meaning of at least, at most, and exactly. So the biggest takeaway from this I want you guys to do is probability of x equal to something, probability of x greater than equal to something, probability of x less than equal to something. How are you gonna read this? This means exactly, exactly. This means at least, and this means at most. Now we can solve for at least another way. So down here what I did was I just straight away got the values and wrote them as it is, like at least greater than, if I put it 2, so I would say probability of 2 plus probability of 3. That was very easy, probability of 3. But I just wanted to tell you that we can write it another way because we will need that in the future problems. So when I'm gonna write it as probability of x greater than equal to 2 means at least 2. So I can write it as 1 minus probability of x less than equal to 1 also. So let's see, there is probability of 0, comma probability of 1, comma probability of 2, comma probability of 3. These are my options in my diagram here down here if I look into my work. So these are my 4 options. Okay, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I wanted to find out for at least at least 2 heads. So if I sum up all these probability, I told you in the beginning that this sum will come out to be equal to 1. So probabilities is total probability is 1. So 1 minus probability of maximum 1. So 1 minus probability of, you can say, at most 1 will give you probability of at least 2. And we can do it here also in my numbers. Probability of at least 2 means this and this. 1 means all 4 of them. All 4 of them. Out of all 4 of them, you subtract probability of 0 and 1. At most 1 means 1 minus probability of 0 plus probability of 1. So that's how you're going to get the answer for probability of x greater than equal to 2. Now, make sure whenever you are asked a question, you pay attention to what is written here. So if I write it, probability of x greater than 2, like this means greater than, strictly greater than 2. Greater than 2 means there is only 3 left, probability of 3. So you're only going to get the probability of 3 in that scenario. So don't confuse yourself. This is at least 2. At least, oops, my pen stopped working. At least 2. And this is greater than 2. Same way, this you will read it as less than 1. Probability of getting a less than 1 head is means probability of getting 0 head. Okay, so please make sure you're not confusing yourself. Now, if you are asked a question, what is the probability of getting at great means probability of getting more than 2 heads? Okay, one way of writing is probability of getting 3 heads, only 3 heads, because what are the probabilities? Probability of 0, probability of 1, probability of 2, and probability of 3. So greater than 2 means only third. This is the option. Another way of writing this can be probability of x greater than 2 is that 1 minus probability of x less than equal to 2, because 1 means all the 4 probabilities down here, all these 4 probabilities. 1 minus the probability of at most 2 means 0, 1, 2. 1 minus probability of 0 plus probability of 1 plus probability of 2. So if I subtract all these probabilities, then I'm going to get the probability of 3. You can see that I subtract all these 3, I got the probability of 3. So hopefully you were able to understand what is the meaning of at least and at most. Now, based on this, I will encourage you guys and girls to try and do some of the question. One of the question which comes to my mind is question number 25 and question number 26 on chapter 6.1. And if I'm going to do it, you can I don't have the question in front of me on the computer screen, but I will highly encourage you guys to open up that particular question and try and do it yourself, and then I'll do it in another video. Till then, goodbye.